The San Francisco Giants are the epitome of a rudderless ship. Yeah, the Giants have stars. Matt Chapman at third base, a two-time Cy Young Award winner in Blake Snell, and a prodigious power hitter in Jorge Soler. And you wonder, damn, if they get this all together, they're going to be very scary. You even look at a rotation that features a guy like Logan Webb, who's one of the best pitchers in the National League, if not a top 5 pitcher. They're going to get Robbie Ray back from Tommy John surgery in the summer. Alex Cobb is a proven veteran at 36 years old. And while they may not win the NL West, they can damn sure compete with the likes of the Dodgers, the Padres, and a National League champion Arizona Diamondbacks. Unfortunately, there's a lot of what-ifs with their team. Blake Snell is not healthy. He's already been on the IL with 2 separate injuries. One was a left hip strain, and the other was a groin strain. In 6 starts this season, he's pitching to a 9.51 ERA and hasn't made it through the 5th inning in any of those starts. Now, his agent Scott Boras will tell you, well, he's training in my institute. He's in the best shape of his life. Yeah, stop him when you heard that one before. He needs to be under the watchful eye of professionals, throwing bullpens, especially pitchers. When you sign late, pitchers are creatures of habit. And Blake Snell, he's clearly not forming a habit. When you look at Blake Snell, he is a microcosm of what the San Francisco Giants have been. They are stuck in neutral. They are chasing names and chasing results instead of doing it the organic way and the way they were known for doing it when they won 3 championships in 2010, 2012, and 2014 and made the wild card game in 2016. You may be wondering, what does this have to do with where they are now? And the answer is everything. The moment it all changed is when you took a trusted advisor, a trusted baseball mind, and former president and general manager Brian Sabian, and you kicked him to the curb because you wanted a new analytical philosophy. You wanted somebody who was up on the times. You wanted somebody who understood the modern game and how to speak the modern language of baseball. So you hire Farhan Zaidi, who came from the Dodgers, has a track record of being one of the most young, brilliant baseball minds by people in the game. And you figured, we need some new fresh blood. We need to bring a guy in here that has his pulse on the game, is currently constructed. But here's the problem. It feels like you threw together names. You said, all right, we're going to stick this on the wall and we're going to hope it works. Jorge Soler has not produced for them. He has a 705 OPS, a 237 batting average, and he only has 8 home runs. Michael Conforto missed 15 games with a pulled right hamstring. Hamstrings are not going to heal very quickly. Matt Chapman has been ineffective in the field. He already has 8 errors. Not to mention a career low 702 OPS so far this season, and is only batting 232. I look at the Giants right now, and it feels to me like a team that has no direction, that was just hoping to make it work. And the thing that Brian Sabian brought to the Giants when he was the general manager and president was direction. He drafted a Matt Cain, a Mad Bum, a Lincecum, a Buster Posey, a Brandon Crawford, a Brandon Belt. He signed Barry Zito, Angel Pagan, Hunter Pence, and the Panda, Pablo Sandoval. He gave the Giants a bedrock with Pagan and Pence in the outfit, Crawford as their shortstop, and Posey behind the plate. That's how you build a sustainable winner. That's how you build a dynasty. I say it all the time on the live shows. Up the middle, up the middle, up the middle. You must have a catcher who can handle any type of situation on the field, any conflicts that may arise. He must be willing to accept the challenge of figuring out, how do we get out of this? And Buster Posey was that. Buster Posey is everything that you want a superstar to be. Posey retired in 2021, which is the last time the Giants were in the postseason, ending a 5-year drought. They won 107 games and lost to the Dodgers in the NLDS. The catching position has been a revolving door since then, with 9 different players manning that post. Joey Bart was supposed to be their next guy. Joey Bart is no longer with the Giants. Joey Bart never lived up to the potential that the Giants had for him as the next person to take over for Buster Posey once he retired. That changes a lot. Same thing with Brandon Crawford. You had no shortstop waiting in the wings, so that when Brandon Crawford was ready to hang it up, or ready to ride off in the sunset, or you were ready to move on from him, which they ultimately did. There was nothing that was waiting behind Brandon Crawford. There was nobody ready in the wings to take his position. They did a lot of winning. They won 3 World Series, made the playoffs 4 out of those 6 years. Well, what happens is, if you're a perennial playoff team, you don't get to pick high in the draft. If they're able to pick higher in the draft and cultivate them into stronger ball players, they wouldn't be in this dry spell that they are now. See, after Barry Bonds left, they got younger and focused on the fundamentals, strong defense, and better situational play. These Giants who were bringing their money would be good enough to lure free agents to San Francisco. Names like Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Carlos Correa, Corey Seager, just to name a few. However, what the Giants have failed to realize is their money no longer holds the influence that it once did. One thing I thought the Giants did get right was the signing of Jung-Woo Lee from Korea. They signed him to a 6-year, $113 million deal. Unfortunately, 6 weeks into the season, Lee crashed into the outfield wall on a tough play. He's done for the season, and he eventually needed shoulder surgery. Anything that could go wrong for the Giants this season has gone wrong for the Giants this season. The other key component to this, Bruce Bochy was an integral part of the Giants championship teams. He allowed his players to show their personality, be who they were, but he also understood when it was time to go to work, he expected his players to give him everything they had, and he didn't never take for granted how important his position was in the dugout. These are the critical parts to winning. These are the critical parts to having sustained success, and that's what Bruce Bochy was all about. So you fire Bruce Bochy, and you bring in Gabe Kapler because you say Gabe Kapler is going to be the manager that executes my vision. He's going to use his bullpen more effectively, and he's going to allow me as an analytical GM to bring in the type of players that fit his philosophy. Instead of building a baseball team where you have players that go off a feel and play the game the right way, you told Gabe Kapler, look in a book, we have to look at the numbers and not just the gut. And then they bring in Bob Melvin, who they thought was going to be that veteran presence that Bruce Bochy had been during Bruce Bochy's time with the Giants. But the problem is, Bob Melvin is not as good of a baseball man as Bruce Bochy was. That's right, I said it. Look at what happened in San Diego when he had Manny Machado, you had Fernando Tatis Jr., you had stars all over the place, and there were leadership issues up and down that clubhouse. So that just goes to show you right there that you don't know how to control personalities. You don't know how to trust your players to do their thing. Bob Melvin has come out on several occasions this season and says, this team just looks listless. It has no life. We came out flat. We put good at-bats together at the end, but we couldn't sustain it for a whole game. You know whose job it is to keep your players focused, hungry, and ready to play? It's yours, Bob Melvin. The lifeless play, the lack of unity. My question for the Giants is, why remain in neutral when you can really start to accelerate this rebuild? What the Giants are doing right now isn't working. They're striving for a wild card spot when they're 2 games under 500, and they need to be focused on how do we build for the future, not for the present. You look at their farm system ranking, they're ranked 26th in baseball. So what that shows me is we have to start planning for the future. The Giants have to be planning for what comes next after these crop of Giants are put out to pasture. You brought in Robbie Ray, veteran starter. You traded for him because you said we want to win right now. And you're not putting enough premium on a guy like Kyle Harrison, who is a young starter who you need to start to develop. Logan Webb is not going to be at the top of his game forever. The Giants are striving for all the wrong things. Let's stay in contention now because we feel like it's attainable rather than thinking about the future and what the next 5 years of this organization may look like. If I'm the Giants, I'd hit the detonator right now. Blake Snell, thanks for your services. We're not picking up your option. Go back into free agency. Matt Chapman, this was a failed experiment. We're not picking up your contract. We're done. I trade Conforto. I might even trade a Logan Webb. And I start over with something that feels like you. Build in the draft. If it means you're going to take a step back to take steps forward in the future, then that's what you must do. Because here's the thing. The National League West, the Dodgers are going to be here for a while. AJ Preller, as long as he has the San Diego Padres job as general manager and president, he's not going to stop trying to improve his team. Arizona just made the World Series last year. What you have to do is take a long, hard look at your current reality, and your current reality is we're old, we're stuck in neutral, and we have no way out. Farhan Zaidi inherited a lot of these players like Wilmer Flores, like Tyro Estrada. He didn't bring these players in himself. So I want to see what Farhan Zaidi does when he tries to develop his own players, because he hasn't done it yet. And that's part of why the Giants are where they are right now. I think it's time. I think it's time we blow up this team, we change this roster, and we even get rid of this manager, because you need some life in there. You need to get back to being the Giants you once were. The proud Giants that when people would go to Oracle Park, they got the sense that this team was about winning, this team was about unity, and this team was about bringing back the feeling of dynasty and prestige. When you walk into Oracle Park, it was a feeling. Even when you would watch on TV, like, I don't want to go in there. That crowd is crazy. And they still are into it, but it's not like it once was. Get back the pride of being a Giant. Get back to the development. Who's your next Matt Cain? Who's your next Tim Lincecum? Who's your next Buster Posey? Because that's how they would have wanted it. They don't want to see you stagnant. They want to see you continue to develop. Willie Mays was all about being a Giant. So if you're not going to do it for yourselves, do it for him. Do it for the guy that represented your franchise to the best of his ability for as long as he could. And even after he retired, he would still wear his Giants cap with pride. Get back to that, because you've clearly lost your way.